Winning a championship isn't just about how great you perform on your best day, but also how hard you're willing to fight back on your worst day. This video isn't about the perfect race with the perfect strategy that comes together just beautifully. It's about how, when faced with adversity on their worst day, AO Racing showed their true character by never giving up and fighting back with the spirit of a champion. As Rexy pulls away from the starting grid in first position, Laurin Heinrich is in the catbird seat to win the full season championship. However, if he starts to slide down the order below 6th position, this gives the number 23 Heart of Racing Aston Martin, who lines up just behind him on the second row of the grid, the opportunity to overtake the 77 Porsche and win the title. So, as Laurin Heinrich leads the field to green, AO's strategy will be to stay at the front of the field for as long as possible, but that will not be easy with a field of GTD drivers looking to pounce at the slightest mistake. They are all packed up and ready to go. Heinrich slams the throttle and the field is away, with Heinrich leading them across the start-finish line. Heinrich defends to the right-hand side as Tommy Milner in the number 4 Corvette looks to go around the outside into turn 1, but backs out of it as Heinrich is able to hold on to that first position on this first lap. He clobbers the curb going through turn 3, and the field starts to settle in behind them as they go down through the S's. There is no room for overtaking on this section of the track as Antonio Garcia follows closely behind his teammate in the number 4 Corvette. As he exits turn 5, Heinrich uses all of the road, pushing this number 77 Porsche to its absolute limit. He does not want to give these drivers behind even the slightest hint of a chance at overtaking the number 77 Porsche. And as they make their way through turn 7, which is the slowest corner on the track, but leads on to the longest straight, Heinrich has built enough of a gap that he doesn't need to worry about any threat from behind. As the stint continues, however, a safety car comes out, allowing the teams to throw the dice for the first time with their strategy. AO Racing decide to bring Laurin Heinrich into the pits to add some fuel and to change his tires. Just behind, though, Antonio Garcia is only taking fuel. With the fueling complete, Antonio Garcia pulls out of his pit box, but Laurin Heinrich is stuck behind a car that's right in front of him. It's so tight in this pit lane. Finally he gets going, but the Corvette comes cruising past on the pit lane speed limiter. And as Heinrich rejoins the track, he finds himself down in 4th position as they go back to green flag racing, with the top 2 cars in class having elected not to take a pit stop during that full course caution. But as they get back to racing, the only recourse for Laurin Heinrich is to push as hard as he can to catch this number 3 Corvette of Antonio Garcia and get themselves back up to the front of the field. And as the Corvette makes its way past the 47 GTD RAWR Racing Ferrari, Laurin Heinrich looks to follow suit as they exit the chicane, come over the crest, and down this fast right-hander onto the front straight. Heinrich is caught behind this GTD Ferrari, though, and is not able to make his way past, as we can see the Corvette now stretching a lead out in front of the number 77 car. Through turn 1, and the 47 runs slightly wide as they come up over this crest, braking gently through turn 2 before clobbering the apex curve and getting 2 wheels in the air through turn 3. They come down through the S's, and there's just nowhere for Laurin Heinrich to go, as that Corvette is now moving further and further into the distance. Heinrich uses all of the curb on the exit, though, as he makes his way up alongside, around the outside of this number 47 RAWR Racing Ferrari, as he catches up now to the number 3 Corvette of Antonio Garcia. Garcia runs wide coming out of turn 7, and Heinrich is able to hold a tighter line and get a better exit. He is now firmly in the draft of this number 3 Corvette. As they make their way down the back straight, we can see these 2 cars are pretty evenly matched when it comes to top speed, but Heinrich in the draft is able to just slightly close in on the 3 Corvette, who defends to the inside. Heinrich pokes his nose up the inside, though, as Antonio Garcia is forced to brake late and goes deep through the left-hander. That allows Heinrich to get the over-under, the better exit. He gets alongside and then past as they make their way down the hill through the final corner. Heinrich is now up into a podium position and fighting his way forward through the field. Next up is number 62 Rexy Ferrari, which elected not to make a pit stop during that previous full course caution. As they come up the crest and into turn 3, we can see that there's traffic for the 62 Ferrari and the class-leading number 65 Mustang of Fred Vervisch. Down the S as they go, and they are caught behind the number 13 AWA Corvette. Heinrich uses all of the curb on entry, absolutely maximizing the width of this circuit as he closes in on the 62 Rexy Ferrari, now firmly in the draft. He closes in as they make their way through turn 6, and heading into turn 7, he is firmly in this three-way battle for the lead. But just behind Rexy is their championship rival, the number 23 Heart of Racing Aston Martin, who is also firmly in this battle for the lead. Down the back straight they go. We can see the Mustang making its way alongside and past number 13 Corvette as the Ferrari follows suit ahead. Those two cars slightly faster in a straight line than this Porsche, as Heinrich has to dive late on the brakes to make his way past as well, coming through this final chicane and then over the crest before diving down the hill and back on the front straight. But as he makes his way through the final corner, he isn't able to change gears. Finally, he finds the gear, but it's too late, and the 23 Heart of Racing Aston Martin makes its way past. Now, if you're not familiar with these cars, they all use paddle shift gearboxes, so any issue with shifting is likely to either be electronic or mechanical, either of which could obviously be detrimental to any hopes the 77 crew has of winning the championship. But as Heinrich heads down through the S's with the 64 Mustang chasing just behind, he seems to have found some pace again. It looks like that might have just been a one-off issue with the gearbox, and hopefully it won't rear its head again. His primary concern, though, as they head into turn 6, is this gaggle of traffic just in front of him, and the 64 Mustang closing in with him caught close behind this Acura GTP. They make contact as that Acura is moving so slow through turn 7, and that allows the 64 Mustang of Harry Ticknell to close in behind the 77 Porsche. And with this Mustang having so much speed in the straight line, Harry looks to the right, then to the left, and pulls up alongside and then past the number 77 Rexy Porsche, shuffling Heinrich down to 5th position. And with the number 23 Heart of Racing Aston Martin looking to make its way up through the field, this is not a comfortable situation for the Rexy crew. But as Heinrich exits turn 10, things are about to get worse, because as he comes down through the hill, he can't find a gear. The car will not shift. That was not a one-off issue. There is clearly a problem with the shifting in this car. It's either electronic or mechanical, but for some reason it seems to show up every time he goes downhill to that sweeping right-hander. Heinrich makes his way into the pit lane to see if the team can quickly find a remedy for this shifting issue. And as he pulls into his pit box, Heinrich undoes his seatbelt and jumps out of this number 77 Porsche as he hands over to Laurin. And the team will quickly get to work changing the steering wheel to see if that will resolve the shifting issues. With this quick stop complete, Laurin presses the engine start button on the steering wheel and refires this Porsche back onto the circuit. Hopefully, changing the steering wheel will do enough to resolve whatever issue it was with the gearbox. And as Laurin makes his way back onto the track, it seems like the gearbox is working okay right now. But the real test will be going up over this crest and down through the final corner. Once again, the car just won't shift as he turns right, coming over that crest. And through the final corner, it still will not shift. It almost sounds like the problem has gotten worse since I changed the steering wheel. Something is seriously wrong with this Rexy Porsche. Fortunately, though, a yellow flag comes out, which keeps Laurin on the lead lap and gives the team, as Laurin has to navigate a stricken LMP2 car, gives the team a chance to try to resolve whatever issue there is with the gearbox, or at least diagnose what the problem is. Miraculously, with the field ready to go back green flag racing, Laurin finds himself in 4th position, but with a field of GTD Pro cars just behind that are looking to pounce on this sick dinosaur. As the race goes green, the field piles into the final chicane, and Laurin enters Rexy's Achilles heel, this right-hander, and he is not able to shift once again. The GTD Pro field goes streaming past him through this downhill right-hander, and he's still stuck in gear. Finally, he is able to shift up, but that was painful, painful as he watched the entire field go flying past. He is now down to 11th position after starting in 4th. But as he comes over the crest, once again, it seems like the gearbox works through these left-handers. You can hear him shift to that left-hander, and as the stint continues, he is closing in on 2 cars battling out front. There is still pace in this number 77 Porsche. He just can't find a way to shift going through that final right-hander. And down the back straight, he is in the draft of the Turner Racing BMW just in front, who's looking for a way past number 34 Conquest Racing Ferrari. They go side by side into the chicane. The BMW squeezes the Ferrari, who brakes late up the inside of that 96 car and is able to get ahead going through the final corner. And Laurin is close behind on the exit, but as they come over the crest, once again is stuck in gear, and yet more GTD cars come flying past this 77 Porsche. With the team now at a loss for what to do, Laurin pulls to the side of the road through turn 7 and will restart the car to see if that will somehow reinvigorate this gearbox. But as he comes over the crest, it is the same problem. The car will not change gears when he is going through this long right-hander. Finally he finds the gears. But that's just so painful to watch this team's championship slowly slip away because of a gearbox issue. Fortunately, another yellow flag comes out, which allows the 77 Porsche to stay on the lead lap and gives the team another chance to try to diagnose what's wrong with this gearbox. As the race goes back to green, Laurin has a new strategy to deal with this gearbox issue. We can hear he's in a much higher gear and short shifts as he comes over that crest into the final corner. So, although he isn't solving the issue with the gearbox, he's at least learning how to manage it over the course of this race. Into turn 1, and he has started to catch the back of the field. There is still a glimmer of hope aboard this Rexy Porsche as the team fights to stay in this championship hunt. Through turn 3, and Laurin is closing in on this number 82 Dragon Speed Ferrari that is new to the GTD Pro category for this race. Down the hill, though, we can see an AWA Corvette is pushed off the road through the S's. The Ford Mustang goes around the outside on the exit, with the Ferrari going around the inside, and Laurin makes it 3 wide on the exit as he squeezes past the Corvette and is alongside and then past the number 82 Ferrari into turn 6. This Porsche might be compromised, but Laurin is still pushing as hard as he can to fight his way up through this GTD Pro field. Down the back straight, and we can see that Mustang flexing its muscle as it powers away from this number 77 Porsche. If Laurin and the rest of this crew can find a way to work around this problem with the gearbox, they might just be able to hold on to this championship. The Mustang up ahead makes it 3 wide past the 027 Heart of Racing Aston Martin as that Ferrari just in front slammed on its brakes coming over the crest. Laurin is stuck in gear, but finally able to make the car shift as he makes his way past the Triarci Ferrari and closes in on that Chetelaar number 47 car as well. Through turn 1, and he is held up behind this Ferrari. He looks up the inside into turn 3, but just doesn't have the space to make it past the 47 car. And once again, as they plunge down the hill, we can see the field pulling away with him stuck behind this GTD Ferrari. He uses the curb on the entry to set up a better exit, using part of the curb and getting up alongside of that number 47 car as they head down into turn 6. And Laurin brakes late around the outside to free himself from this GTD traffic and to continue hunting down the other cars in the GTD Pro category. And Laurin leaves the car 1 gear higher than normal as he exits from that right-hander to try to avoid changing the gear while turning right. And we can jump on board this number 77 Porsche to see how he's dealing with these gearbox issues. As he heads into the chicane, he brakes and downshifts into 3rd gear, once again leaving it a gear higher than normal. As he exits the chicane, he comes over the crest, turns to the left, and shifts the gear twice as he goes down the long sweeping right-hander over the start-finish straight. But once he's on this straight, he's still struggling to find a gear. It's something about turning to the right with this gearbox that just doesn't seem to work. So through the first corner, he once again leaves it a gear higher than normal as he closes in on a GTD Pro competitor, the number 027 Heart of Racing Aston Martin, teammate to their championship rival, who is also closing in on more GTD traffic. Zachary Robichon looks to find a way past, and as they exit turn 5, Andlauer is all over that curb, using every inch of road possible as Robichon peeks his nose up the inside of the Iron Dames Lamborghini with an LMP2 car squeezing past as well. Into turn 7, and it is a mess of traffic as Andlauer is all over the apex curb and is able to get a better exit than that Iron Dames Lamborghini as he looks to chase down the 027 Heart of Racing Aston Martin with more LMP2s coming flying past as well. My prognosis for Rexy at this point in the race is, yes, there is a problem that's costing it about half a second to a second a lap, but it's manageable, and if they can just change gears while turning left, they can make it to the end of the race. With Andlauer being able to make it all the way to the end of his stint with no further issues, the car is now up in 7th position, which, considering the circumstances, is a pretty good result. But with the car in the pit box one more time, the team has another chance to try to diagnose and solve this issue. Andlauer pulls off the steering wheel, and the team goes to work to try to fix this cord that connects the steering wheel to the rest of the car. With that steering wheel being replaced and the cord being adjusted, Andlauer is ready to go racing once again. But with the pit stop complete, Andlauer presses the button that's supposed to start the engine, but nothing happens. The engine doesn't fire. He tries to fiddle with the steering wheel before pressing the button on the center console, getting the car refired, and then exiting his pit box back onto the pit lane. He tries to disengage the pit lane speed limiter with his right thumb, but the button isn't working. The entire steering wheel isn't working. He cannot disengage the pit lane speed limiter and is stuck at 60 kilometers, 37 miles an hour. The situation with the steering wheel has gone from bad to worse. Andlauer stops the car to try to fix this issue, but just is not able to find a solution as cars are flying past with the race still being green. He gets the car running again, but we can look at the dashboard and see that it's still green, and I've done enough iRacing to know that that means that the pit lane speed limiter is activated, and we can even see on the top left-hand corner of the dashboard that he is going 60 kilometers an hour. With cars still flying past, he tries to adjust this cable. Maybe if he can just pull it in the proper direction, he can get the electronic signal to make its way from the steering wheel to the rest of the car. He keeps spamming that right-hand button that disengages the pit lane speed limiter with both hands as he adjusts that cable, but just nothing happens. Finally, he disengages the pit lane speed limiter and is back up to racing speed. Once again, the wheel is not responding to his inputs. He tries the cable one more time, with him going now 100 kilometers an hour, but nothing is happening. I can't imagine how painful this is for Laurin, Heinrich, and the rest of the AO crew to be sitting on the pit wall and watching helplessly as their car is unable to shift up from first gear and is hemorrhaging time, position, and laps to their competitors. Finally, Andlauer makes it into pit lane and pulls into his pit box, where the crew can jump over the wall and quickly get to work diagnosing the issue with this cable that connects the wheel to the rest of the car. The mechanic quickly removes the box that covers the electronics. With the issue seemingly resolved, we can see the dashboard in front of Andlauer finally responding to his inputs on the steering wheel. With the door slammed shut, he starts the engine with his left thumb and peels out of the pit box. He is able to release the pit lane speed limiter with no issues and get back on track once again, easily able to make his way up through the gears. But the real test obviously isn't that section of the course. It's coming through the chicane and over this final right-hander that has caused so much issue throughout the race for the 77 car. Over this crest, and the car is finally shifting as intended. It has been an impressive effort from the team to diagnose and resolve the issue so quickly with this gearbox, but they still have, however, lost about 5 or 6 laps compared to their competitors with this dilemma. Instead of giving up, however, this is where Rexy shows its true character. As Laurin makes his way down through the S's, he closes in on the number 62 Rexy Ferrari that just pitted from the class lead. Laurin uses all of the road on the exit as he tries to get a lap back on this number 62 Rexy Ferrari. Into turn 6, he peeks to the inside as he temporarily makes it 3 wide, but backs out of it as he thinks better of it. He brakes late into turn 7 though, and that Rexy Ferrari is sliding around on its cold tires. Laurin has the better exit, but that Rexy Ferrari is fast in a straight line. Laurin uses the side draft off of the 296 as he claws his way up alongside that Ferrari. Into the chicane, he pushes that Ferrari to the inside of the road, but the Le Mans winner, Alessandro Pierguidi, brakes late. He is wide through the left-hander. Laurin gets the over-under, the better exit as he comes up over the crest, goes alongside. They make contact as he bumps his way past through the final corner. Rexy may be down, but he is certainly not out, as we can look in the rearview mirror and see that Ferrari with the Le Mans winner are not giving up just yet. The number 62 Rexy Ferrari goes around the outside of Laurin as he brakes late into the chicane. The Ferrari is once again deep to the right-hander though, and Laurin gets the over-under once again as he forces his way up alongside. They make contact once again into the final corner, but Laurin is not giving up as he desperately wants that lap back on the number 62 Rexy Ferrari. And once again, it is the 62 in the mirrors of that number 77 Porsche. As they head down into the chicane, we can see it's 3 wide with the Ferrari on the outside, and an Acura comes flying past on the inside, but Pierguidi brakes later than the GTP. His exit is once again compromised. Laurin has the run, but Pierguidi forces him to back out of it as he holds on to the position ahead of that 77 Porsche. Now, although this Rexy crew is fighting for every last inch of the track, realistically, fate is out of their hands, because with them still being 5 laps down in 11th position, the number 23 Heart of Racing Aston Martin can win the championship if they finish in 2nd position. And with 25 minutes remaining, Ross Gunn is closing in, ironically, on the number 62 Rexy Ferrari for 2nd place. So the AO Racing crew goes from battling the 62 to rooting for the 62 to keep the 23 behind. Ross Gunn is within touching distance of the championship as the number 62 Rexy Ferrari follows closely behind the number 9 Pfaff McLaren, which is a few laps down. And as they scream their way down this back straight, we can see the strength of that Ferrari in a straight line as Daniel Serra pops to the inside of that number 9 McLaren and builds a slight buffer to the 23 Heart of Racing Aston Martin of Ross Gunn, who squeezes his way past that McLaren as well as he sweeps down through the final corner, so tantalizingly close to the number 62 Rexy Ferrari. Daniel Serra brakes as late as he can and tries to eke out a gap through the exit of turn 1 though. We can look to the right-hand side and see headlights as the leaders come flashing past. Number 6 Porsche comes sliding through turn 3 and heading down through the S's. Ross Gunn has to back out as the number 01 Cadillac comes screaming past as well, putting the Heart of Racing Aston Martin out of reach of 2nd position in the full season championship. So with 0 minutes left on the clock, Heinrich in 11th position, the 23 in 3rd. This AO Racing crew has done enough to barely, by the tips of their claws, cling on to the full season championship. And as Heinrich hammers down the back straight, we see an eruption of emotion for what must have been one of the most stressful days of his life. Despite the way these cards were dealt, this AO Racing crew never gave up, because they will fight tooth and nail for every single position. It doesn't matter if it's 11th place to get their lap back or 1st place to get the win. That is AO Racing, and that is why they are champions. Anyways, if you guys made it this far, I want to thank you so much for watching, so much for supporting, subscribing, commenting, liking. I really appreciate it. I want to give a special shout out to my members as well. Thank you guys so much for all the support. I really appreciate it. I love you guys. What a ride AO Racing has taken us on this season. If anyone from that team or crew is watching, I really appreciate all that you do to bring so much fun, joy, and excitement to the sport. So thank you guys so much as well, and I will see you in the next video.